All right, the draft is over. How did the Jazz do? Let's talk about it. It's the Hoopsner Show. All right, so the Utah Jazz came away with three really good players, in my opinion. The first player they draft was Taylor Hendricks. There were a few guys that I was hoping would be there. It looked like for a minute that maybe Jarris Walker might be there for the Jazz. I personally was a big fan of Bilal Coulibaly. He goes 8 and 7. Jarris Walker and Bilal go 8 and 7. And the Jazz take Taylor Hendricks at number 9. The big question was, would they take Cam Whitmore, who dropped? He dropped all the way to 20. And there's some reports out there that he might have dropped because he couldn't even finish workouts with his fitness level, like caught in a locker room vaping after a workout he couldn't even finish. They were bad reports. So that's why a lot of teams were just like, nope, we're not interested. The Utah Jazz get Taylor Hendricks, who I think will be just an immediate plug and play starter. You know, he'll be competing with Kelly Olynyk, and we'll see what happens, but he is an elite level shooter. He is going to play high level defense. He has a lot of chances to become really solid, and you'll see in some of his highlights, he can do a lot of different things. I think this was an A- for the Utah Jazz. I don't think he's going to be maybe all NBA. You know, you never say never, but I also think he's going to be an elite level starter in this league for a long time. He brings size, length, defense, shooting, all things that help you win basketball games. So Taylor Hendricks, really, really nice pick for the Jazz. The next pick for the Jazz they get at 16 is Keonte George. It was crazy. Same thing we talked about with Hendricks. Cam Whitmore was on the board, but the Jazz go with Keonte George. I think he has a chance to be special scorer. He can score at 3 levels. At Baylor, he went through some injury issues, and that's why you may see some of the numbers not be as good as you would have hoped. But the guy can absolutely score the ball, and he has high upside as someone who could come in and be an offensive go-to guy at the end of games during the season. And the thing that's exciting about Keonte George is that he might be the playmaker the Jazz have been looking for. It's reported that the Jazz look at him as the point guard of the future, at least starting now. And he's shown that he can really pass the ball. The thing that's interesting about these first 2 picks for Utah is both can shoot. And this Jazz team going forward has absolute shooters on the floor at all times. And now, number 28. Oh, grade for Keonte George. I'm giving that B+. I think he has a chance to be really good. Now, the question with him is, you know, is he big enough and can he defend? But I think Keonte George is just at 16 is a great pick. There were other guys that maybe you could argue they could have gotten after, like Jalen Hood-Schifino, obviously Cam Whitmore if you want to take that risk. But Keonte George to me is a very, very much going to play for the Utah Jazz and likely going to be an NBA starter for a long time. Finally, Brice Sensabaugh at 28. This was a guy that a lot of people had mid-first round. Could have possibly even gone lottery. Next year, in next year's draft, he would have 100% been a lottery pick. But this pick comes in at 28. What a steal for the Jazz at 28. Apparently, the Jazz were interested in trading up for him around 20, and he just fell to them at 28. He can absolutely score. He's one of the more dynamic shooters in the draft. And so the Jazz get at all 3 picks, dynamic shooters and a dynamic defender with their first pick. The Brice Sensabaugh pick at 28 is an A+ because he was just absolutely not slated to go there. Drops. And the Jazz get him. We'll see what role he fills, but don't be surprised if Brice Sensabaugh is a really nice NBA player. And to get him at 28 is just fantastic. So the Utah Jazz have to be really happy about what they did in this draft and what they're looking like with the future coming. So really nice draft for the Utah Jazz. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? What do you think of the grades? Also, if you're new here, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.